Hello students, very good afternoon. So today we are going to start with reproductive health. So please let me know if my audio and video is clear. I'm going to launch technical poll, okay? Students, please confirm is the audio and video is clear. There's a poll on your screen that says if the audio and video is clear. All you have to do is yes or no. YouTube students, you can just put it on the chat box if you have any technical issues. Okay, so I'll end the poll. Let's get on with our classes. So today we're going to talk about, okay, hold on, no issues. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. So today we are going to talk about reproductive health. It's a very simple chapter, as you all know. So in reproductive health, so first of all, why do we have to specify about reproductive health and why do we have to give importance to it? So reproductive health has been a major concern for many of the aspects. So for every organism, having a younger generation or having the next generations become a very important priority in the whole circle of life. So many organisms adapt, evolve, and develop so many aspects to become more efficient beings to increase their population and transfer their genetic material from one generation to another generation. And if this process is not accomplished to the fullest, then is always a psychological and emotional and behavioral impact, right? So as a humans, we should have a lot of emotions and a lot of psychological things that goes when the reproductive health is not at its finest. So how do we define reproductive health? A reproductive behavior of a human being is in all aspects such as physical, emotional, behavior, and social combined will say if a human being is reproductive healthy. Physical aspects is if his organs are supporting the process of reproduction. Emotional aspects are if he is stable emotionally to carry on a stable relationship with the opposite sex. Or behavioral, you know that how psychopathic some of the humans can be when it comes to behavioral. If he is having a normal behavior or really absurd behavior when it comes to reproductiveness, or is he depressed, anything else, or the social behavior. Okay, do we have the sense to behave socially when it comes to reproductive health? So what about reproductive health? We are one of the first countries to initiate this importance about the reproductive health. So under reproductive health, it was initiated to bring awareness for the people with respect to overpopulation. So people were given the freedom and knowledge to go for family planning where they can avoid the unwanted child or unwanted pregnancy. So the program was initiated in 1951 under the family planning program. Okay, so as I said, we were the first countries to really bring about this knowledge to common public about the awareness of reproductive health and awareness of going for family planning and preventing the expansion of the family unnecessarily. Okay, so and then the operation was expanded to reproductive and child health care. Okay, it is called as RCH programs was also induced. Okay, where many of the aspects about the adolescence, the teenage, the child health care during the pregnancy, the birth, okay, and priority to the mothers during the pregnancy, and supporting women during the pregnancy, and supporting men for not going for unwanted pregnancy. All these aspects were brought about in reproductive and child health care program by the government. So some of the real aims about this reproductive health, reproductive program, right? Reproductive and child health program. Under this program, they really understood that there is an essence. Why this sex education is important? It actually evolves our mindset in so many different ways. Apart from how we are conservatively believing or approaching the sexual behavior of us. So once the child is taught an appropriate sex education, they'll become aware of so many different things, and they take it in a more intellectual sense than than being carried away with the social things. For example, you might talk about the child marriage or sexual abuse, okay, and then approach to adolescence and the teenage, misconceptions about the sexual related problems or sexual health, etc. So the aims of sex education in schools was to bring the right information to the kids and the students and the younger generations, so that they avoid the sex related myths and misconceptions, and also they can take care of their reproductive health, their adolescence. So many of the kids, many of the teenagers, they undergo a wide range of confusion and wide range of emotional distress and instability in their mind setup when they reach the adolescence. So it is all right. So if somebody tells you it's all right, it's not taken well. If it is told through the systematic education, then the approach becomes different with respect to adolescent kids. Okay, and what is the importance of safety and hygiene with respect to reproductive health? Without safety, safe approaches, and without having a proper hygiene, it can lead to a lot of diseases, venereal diseases, and lot of declination of reproductive health. Okay, and sanitation has become a major priority for both the sexes. So that is why the safety and hygiene is being prioritized in the reproductive health, as well as what kind of sexual practices, the safe sexual practices, as well as the knowledge about sexually transmitted diseases such as AIDS is also promoted across all education systems in our country. So what happened? So after 1951, the government really realized that the population is going to be a bigger problem for our country, because we were young population, and our young population, that means when we call our population as young, that means we have more reproductively active population than the aging or the senescent population. So there was a huge explosion of population that leads to a lot of problems with respect to infrastructure, with respect to healthcare, with respect to maintaining social order, right? The amount of resources, the job, the food, everything becomes a very crucial criteria with respect to the expansion of population, right? So to avoid that, so you just can take the census, what has happened. By 2011, okay, the world population was around 7.2 billion, right? By 1900, our Indian population was 1.2 billion. So our growth rate is around 2% approximately, which is very, very high. Today, we stand as a nation of the highest population in the world. So it's not something that we can be too proud of. One way it is benefiting, one way it is really, really harmful for our socio-economic sectors of our country. Okay, so for reasons why we have to avoid overpopulation and go for the moderate populations is we can have the reasons why the overpopulation became very high in our country is the medical facilities became more and more expanding, and medical infrastructure was available for the remote parts of our country as we move up the like from 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, and 2010. If you see, the medical infrastructure has been really, really improving in many of our rural countries, and the maternity mortality rate has been decreasing very, very highly in many parts of our country, and even the infant mortality rate has gone severely down. So that has led to a low death rate in the older people, okay, and the younger population was high. So that is why our population explosion was much. So now the Indian government was launching this overpopulation, okay, the campaign on overpopulation, where in 1951 they were talking about family planning, okay. So through this, what will happen, the program was mostly concerned about motivating the couples for having, only two kids, okay, only two kids, not more than two kids, by this slogan called as hum do hamare do, we two ours too, okay, go for only two kids. So they were also telling parents that having a small family, you can give better education for the kids, better health care for the kids, better infrastructure for your family, better food and nutrition for your family. So when you even having a low income and having a very big family is really, really bad for all the members of the family, right? So that is why this slogan like hum do hamare do was used as a slogan by motivating couples to have a small families as possible. So next, they were also talking about raising marriageable age. So we know that we had a problem with underage marriage or child marriage problem in so many societies across our countries. So this has led to a really big problem for the girls and even the boys, especially the girls. When you see the girls, they are not potent enough or capacitated enough for having babies and running a family because they are not mentally mature, they're not physically mature, they have less exposure to the society. So it is better to raise the age, legal age for marriage, so that they become emotionally, physically, and financially stable and they understand the society well, so that they can bring up their kids in a more sensible manner. So that is why the age for the marriage was raised to 18 to 21. And then we more encouragement for the smaller families, and several contraceptive methods are like providing free contraceptives for the population, like free condoms and less prices on the contraceptives. Okay, were also given to the public to prevent unwanted fertilization. Next one. So, to overpopulation methods can be prevented by following some of the contraceptive methods. So, what are contraceptives? Contraceptives are something that prevents unwanted pregnancy. So, ideal properties of a contraceptive should be user friendly. It should not be overcomplicated. Any uneducated man should know how to use it. Next one, it should be available easily and effective. Effectiveness is one of the important properties. Using contraceptives is a hope that it does not lead to unwanted pregnancies. So it has to be effective. And when the contraceptive is used, it has to be reversible. It should not be permanent, so that completely changes our entire physical things. Okay, so it should have least side effects, and moreover, it should not interfere with any of the sexual drive or sexual act between the couples. Okay, so we know that its sexual act is an emotional and physical aspects, so it should not hinder the drive of an individual. Okay, so there are many methods of contraception. So there is natural methods or traditional methods of contraception, barrier methods, intrauterine devices, oral contraceptives, injectables, and surgical methods, which is also called as sterilization. So let us see one by one. So when it comes to temporary methods of contraception, so we can use natural methods, barrier methods, and some of the chemical methods to avoid the unwanted pregnancies. So when it comes to permanent methods, it becomes surgical or sterilization process. So that is very permanent and it is irreversible. So let's talk about natural methods of contraceptives. Okay. So the problem with natural methods of contraceptives is it is less effective. Okay. And there are no side effects. And one major problem is it cannot control the spread of STDs or sexually transmitted diseases. Okay. So that there are three important ways in which we can go for natural methods of contraceptives. One is periodic abstinence or understanding the rhythmic menstrual cycle of the female. Second one is coitus interruptus, that is withdrawal without insemination during the coitus. Next one is lactational amenorrhea or absence of menstruation during the lactation period. So when we talk about periodic abstinence, we know that there are three important phases. One is the bleeding phase, the other one is the fertile phase, next one is the infertile days. So we know that the bleeding phase is completely avoided for coitus, 1 to 5 days. Next one is from day 10 to day 17. These are called as fertile days. So these fertile days are strict no-no for any coitus. Why? Because the egg is already waiting in the fallopian tube. The coitus leads to easy fertilization. So that is why we have to avoid the coitus during the day 10 to day 17 of the menstrual cycle of female. So this is called as a periodic abstinence. Coitus interruptus. What is coitus interruptus? While having a coitus, okay, or a sexual intercourse, a man withdraws his penis from the genitals of the female and he ejaculates it outside the body, okay, so that coitus is avoided or insemination is avoided, thereby preventing the pregnancy. Here, in coitus interruptus, it should be very carefully done. Why? Because in the last class we talked about the bulbourethral gland. Remember? So it is called as pre-ejaculate, and it washes down the tract of our urethra, thereby removing all the unwanted things, and it also lubricates. So when a person does the coitus interruptus first time, and then he goes for the second intercourse at the same time, at that time, the bulbourethral secretions can carry the sperms and can lead to accidental pregnancy. That is why the couples are encouraged to wash and clean after the first, insemination. After the first ejaculation. Next one is lactational amenorrhea. Until the mother is lactating, okay, the mother do not produce eggs. And second one is the cervical mucus is very, very thick and it will not lead to pregnancy. So these are the three natural methods for contraceptives. Next one is barrier method. So in barrier method, usually the barriers, barrier means we avoid the sperm and ovum from coming contact with each other. So, okay, that can be done by mechanical process or it can be done by chemical process. Mechanical process is by separating by physical wall between the sperm and the ovum. Chemical is immobilizing. You use chemical so that the sperm loses motility, thereby reducing the chances of getting pregnant. Next one, when it comes to mechanical means, we have condoms. Okay, hold on. We have male and we have female. So in male, we have condoms. For male, we have condoms. Okay, so the condoms are used by male, which is made up of latex or rubber. Okay, so they cover the erect penis, and these are one of the easiest contraceptives available for men, and they're also known to prevent effectively the STDs or AIDS. Okay. So next one, female uses several types of contraceptives such as diaphragms, cervical caps, vaults, okay, and also female condoms. Diaphragms, cervical caps, and vaults are inserted at the cervical region of the female, thereby blocking the entry of the sperm into the uterus and the fallopian tube. Whereas the female condoms covers the vaginal region and the cervix, so that the contact is made with the not made with the vagina, walls of vagina, as well as the entry of sperm through the cervix. So these are mechanical means. Okay. So next one is chemical methods. The chemical methods is used to prevent the pregnancy, such as spermicidal creams. Okay. So you have spermicidal creams such as Zenol G, which is a foam tab, which acts as a spermicide. Spermicide means, right, it kills the sperm. Okay. Or sperm, there are gels, okay, and there are creams which also help in killing the sperm. All right. So these are the chemical methods. Now, when it comes to contraceptives, we have oral contraceptive pills. Okay. So they are taken orally by mouth, like how we take any other pill. Okay. So these oral contraceptive pills, they contain hormones such as estrogen and progesterone. So they are usually taken every day after the coitus, okay, until for almost 21 days throughout the cycle. Okay. So we have usually, what is the role of these oral pills is they inhibit ovulation and also prevent make the uterine walls unfavorable for the implantation. Okay. And they also what do? They also decrease the mobility and on the motility of the sperms. So basically they have a lot of side effects, okay, such as irregular periods, headaches, body pains, etc. So one of the best oral pills that was designed was by CDRI, that is Central Drug Research Institute, that is from Lucknow. So they produced this non-steroidal pill called as Saheli. Okay, Saheli is one of the famous pills, so which is taken up to 3 months. Okay, it can be taken up to 3 months. So there are some of the pills like unwanted 72, where within the 72 hours of the coitus it is taken twice. Okay, so now it will kill the sperms and also makes the ovulation delayed. Okay, so these are some of the oral contraceptives. Okay, fine. So now we have IUDs. IUDs are intrauterine devices. So they are some of the contraceptive devices, and this is used by this is inserted by a medical practitioner, like such as senior nurses and doctors in the female genital tract. Okay, so usually the devices are kept in the uterus, so they cannot prevent STDs, and they are the most effective contraceptives. So we have three methods of contraceptives. One is medicated, non-medicated IUDs, and we have copper releasing IUDs, and we have hormone releasing IUDs. Okay. The examples for non-medicated IUDs are very, very important for your exams, such as Lippers loop is non-medicated IUD. Copper releasing IUDs are CU7, CUT, and multiload 375. Hormone releasing IUDs are progesterone and LNG20. Okay. LNG stands for levonorgestrel. Okay, which makes the uterus unfavorable for implantation. Okay, and also it do not allow the sperms. It will decrease the motility of the sperms. Levonorgestrel. Okay, it contains levonorgestrel. Remember that. Okay, next one. Medical termination of pregnancy. Okay, hold on. When it comes to do we have? Oh yeah, when it comes to contraceptives, we have one more contraceptive called as surgical method, where we use surgery or permanent sterilization for both male and female, okay, respectively. So in surgical methods, the first one is done for the male, which is called as vasectomy, where the vas deferens of the male is cut and tied so that he will not be able to transfer the gametes. Next one is tubectomy. The fallopian tube is cut, okay, in the females, and then it is cut and tied so that the ova is not released. Here, people remember. How do we remember? Vasectomy, vas deferens, tubectomy, fallopian tube, T for tube. Okay, so that's how you remember whether it is male or female. Fine. Next one we have is medical termination of pregnancy. It is also called as abortion. So many countries do not encourage abortion for socio, religious and ethical and emotional reasons, because it's just like murder. That's what they think. Okay. But in India, the medical termination of pregnancy is legal. Okay. In 1971, the government legalized the medical termination of pregnancy. So the medical termination of pregnancy has led to almost 45 to 50 million MTPs on an average is performed every single year. So that means 1/5 of the population that is born, okay, is terminated. So that is very, very effective to avoid overpopulation. It's not that all the times medical termination of pregnancy is used. Whenever there is accidental pregnancy, in case of rape, in case of accidental pregnancy, accidental coitus, okay, in case of like deformities in the babies. So all these cases, the people can go for MTPs, and then it will help in decrease of the population. Also, it can have the parents can be relieved because they are not having another baby which is unwanted. Okay, so abortion got legalized in India, and it has certain norms. What are those norms? Usually medical termination of pregnancy Act says that pregnancy can only be done under certain condition. First one is the fetus, if it has any of the mental and physical disabilities, you can go for medical termination of pregnancy. Okay, so if there is any physical or mental health of a woman, okay, then they can go for the MTPs. Next one, whenever there is a case of rape or harassment or any of the cases or molestation cases, then you can go for MTPs. Next one, for the women, okay, due to the failure of contraceptives, then they can go for pregnancy. And you need not prove that the contraceptives failed. They can go for pregnancy. Especially the parents can go for pregnant, MTPs, and even the non-parents who have got accidental pregnancies can go for MTPs. So Always the termination of the pregnancy is not safe in all the months of the pregnancy. Usually it is highly recommended within the first 3 months that the baby is terminated. Why? Because the development is very, very poor, and the integration of the blood vessels and the tissues from the mother and baby is not so well. Okay, it is reasonable. It is there, but it is reasonable, and it is not harming the life. Like, it's not life threatening for both mom and the baby. So for the mom especially. So that is why it is suggested that the MTPs are performed first trimester, means the first month. That is 12 weeks of the pregnancy. The MTPs are highly recommended. Usually the second trimester abortions are highly risky, and it requires the consent of a highly professional doctor. Okay, so you can go for multiple doctors' suggestions whether it is safe or not. And usually, like fourth and fifth month pregnancies, they take a lot of consideration whether to go for it or not. Mostly, it is prevented. People, can you hear me well? Guys, is it audible? Can you just put a message if it is audible, please? Yeah, let me check. Yes, yes. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Okay, give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So coming to one of the major problems with respect to MTPs was the parents were really choosing which baby to be born. Okay, so that is called as the sex determination. Like sex determination of the baby. So this is very cruel. In many of the countries, sex is determined before the pregnancy, and the parents will happily enjoy the gender reveal. But in our countries, it did not happen like that. In many of the societies, the female babies are thought as a burden, as a curse, or as an unwanted child. So they went for extremities where when the baby was conceived, they would go for amniocentesis, which is a medical process where the syringe is put into the uterus. There the amniotic fluid is collected, and then in the amniotic fluid they will have the exact genetic characteristics of the baby. So when they check the chromosomes, if it is baby, the baby were killed. Okay, so the fetal cells will show the genetic character, right? The baby would be killed, and if there is boy baby, the baby would be let to live. So amniocentesis was known to encourage parents to have this gender reveal and surprise, but it led to female feticides. Okay, the female feticides, even now it is a problem in some of the extreme rural parts of our country, but it has tremendously reduced because of the very strict norms of the government. Government has banned strictly the amniocentesis or the sex determination of the baby because of this reason only. So the doctor's license can be revoked completely. It can be cancelled, and parents will be jailed. There are so many things that are done. So amniocentesis was good. As I told, genetic disorders can be checked, gender can be checked, survivability of the baby could be checked. All of this could be checked. But because of the misuse of the public, now this thing is banned, and it is good because our girl childs get a second, very good chance to live. They're essential parts of a society, and it should be encouraged that the girl babies be born. And that girl babies are more effective in maintaining the family. They love parents more than us, especially. Correct. So now the girls are the standing pillars in many of the societies and many of the families. So that is like checkmate for all the people who went for female feticides. All right. So the next part of the lesson is sexually transmitted diseases. Sexually transmitted diseases are very deadly. Okay. So there are so many reasons why we have to take this part as very serious as possible. Why? Because these diseases are not something very common. I mean, like not something very easy taken. Very severe symptoms they have, and they can cause deadly they're very deadly. They can cause death of an individual. Okay, one such disease was HIV, right? So can you believe that HIV is one disease that can be spread by either sexual transmission or by the blood infusion, right? Infected person, when the infected person's blood is transferred to the normal person, then there is a chance of getting HIV. Or when an infected person have a sex with a normal person, then the normal person can get a HIV. Just believe that the disease started somewhere in the USA. Now entire world is suffering from HIV, right? So which does not have a possible potential cure for the disease. So sexual transmitted diseases are also called as venereal diseases. They're also called as reproductive tract infection. So they include gonorrhea, syphilis, genital herpes, chlamydiasis, genital warts, trichomonosis, hepatitis B, HIV, or HIV that leads to AIDS. Okay, so many diseases are there. So let us check one by one. So when it comes to bacterial infections, okay, so some of them are chlamydiasis, gonorrhea, and syphilis. So here, chlamydiasis are caused because of chlamydia, trachomatis, okay, trachomatis, and gonorrhea is caused by Neisseria gonorrhea, and syphilis is because of Trypanosoma pallidum. Okay, remember the names of the causative agents. Okay, so one of the major diseases, okay, such as you see gonorrhea, you can see here gonorrhea. What happens? There is a lot of blister-like structures in the oral cavity, as even in the genital regions. There is, like blisters that comes here. Okay, whereas when it comes to syphilis, syphilis is very, very, very deadly disease. Okay, because it happens in three stages: stage one, stage two, stage three. Stage one comes under small fever, and small, like blister like structures appear all over the body, and it disappears. Second one, more blisters appear, more fever comes, again it disappears. In the third time when it comes, it is uncurable. There is internal bleeding, there is bleeding from the eyes, the person vomits blood, there is blood going from everywhere, internal and external bleeding. This is one of the most punishable disease a person can get, that is syphilis. Okay, so syphilis can be transmitted through so many ways, okay, such as oral sex, okay, vaginal sex, okay, and then by sharing the mother's milk, okay, milk of a woman who is infected, okay. And this gonorrhea and chlamydiasis are such diseases where they can lead to some of the symptoms like this. Okay, next one is viral diseases. We have HPV, herpes, and then we have hepatitis and second people. When it comes to chlamydia, gonorrhea is one of the major diseases that occurs in young population, so it has to be taken care. Okay, herpes, hepatitis, and AIDS are caused by viral diseases, and even HPV, human papilloma virus. Next one is herpes simplex virus. And then we have hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, D, and E. All of them are different viruses, which are called as hepatitis virus. And AIDS is caused by human immunodeficiency virus. Okay, very, very deadly. And usually hepatitis is incurable. AIDS is also incurable. Okay, herpes, which causes severe blisters in the genital tracts. Okay, some of the ulcer-like blisters in the genital tract. Initial herpes can be cured, but the herpes cannot be completely taken out of the body. Okay, it still remains. Fine. How do we prevent the sexually transmitted diseases? First one, people get carried away very easily. That's why we should stop having sex with unknown partners or multiple partners. Very important. If done, use use condoms compulsorily during coitus whenever we have such situations. Okay, frequently young population are encouraged to get checked for HIV or any of the STDs, because if you take HIV has a very, very long incubation period. That means once you get infected, next week you won't show the symptoms. The virus can remain in your body inactive, not causing you disease for almost 7 years. After 7 years, immediately you might catch HIV. You don't even remember what happened, few months back. How would you even remember what happened few years back? That's exactly the reason why the young are encouraged to go and get their blood samples tested at least 6 months once, because it is essential. We don't know how it happens, but if it happens, it's very, very sad situation. All right. So the next portion is infertility. So infertility is some of the very sad conditions a man can face, because parents always have this tendency to give birth to a baby and raise a family. So whenever couple have unprotected sex for over 2 years, okay, and they're not able to have this, they cannot become pregnant. This is called as infertility. Reasons can be several: physical, congenital, diseases, drugs, immunological, and even psychological. Very important aspects these we have to remember. Physical aspects, men usually suffer, most men suffer from some of the infertility disorders, such as they have, most common disease is erectile dysfunction disease, premature ejaculation. So these are some of the diseases men usually suffer. Whereas female, small uterine sizes, the fallopian blocks, okay, lack of ovulation, some of the things. Congenital diseases, whenever they have blood pressure, whenever they have heart diseases, whenever they have this, ovarian or testicular cancers, the exact etc. They can be infertile. On the use of drugs. Drugs are, for example, smoking causes the decrease in the sperm count, is one of the best examples you can pick up. Immunological, some of the people will have autoimmune disorders that can lead to spermicidal actions in the testes, and then there will be no sperm production. And psychological is so important. Stress, depression, lack of sleep, okay, and constant thinking can lead to decrease in testosterone level and decrease in sexual activities, and even lead to infertility. All right, people. So that is why it is encouraged that the young population remain physically active, exercise regularly, take cold baths, okay, to increase their hormones, so that they remain sexually active. It might sound funny, but once it comes to a fertile age, when it is time, and if things don't go right, it is a really, really sad situation for the couples if they're not able to have babies. But no problem, we have science to save us. We have something called as assisted reproductive technologies. It is also called as ART, right? So in unchoice, but we have to get the medical help. Then there is assisted reproductive technology. So these reproductive technologies are many types. What are those? One we have is in vitro fertilization, or it is also called as test tube baby program. Then we have is gamete intrafallopian transfer. Then we have is intracytoplasmic sperm injection, artificial insemination, and surrogacy. So these are the methods that we've used for ART. So let's see what is that in vivo and in vitro fertilization. In vivo fertilization is where the gametes fertilize within the fallopian tube. That is, the fertilization happens within the female, and then that is it. So if the fertilization has to happen within the female, what should happen? The sperm has to be transferred into the female genital tract. So that happens by artificial insemination. This is first thing. Next one, gamete intrafallopian transfer. So whenever a fertilization, if a female is not able to produce a functional ova, okay, if she is not able to produce an ova, but she has a very very healthy fallopian tubes, very healthy uterus, then we can transfer the donor ova into the fallopian tube, okay, and then the male can ejaculate and the fertilization can happen. That is first thing. Or if the male can produce an ova and a guy cannot produce a proper healthy sperms, or motility of the sperms is very low, or the count of sperm is very, very low, then they can go for artificial insemination. Understood, people? Next one. In vitro fertilization, the sperm and the ova are collected from the parents, and then the fertilization happens in the laboratory, okay, within the lab conditions, where it is not affected. Very, very, very well maintained conditions will be there, which is as similar to that of the bodily conditions. There the fertilization happens. Now we have a zygote, right? Now the zygote can be transferred in near to the fallopian tube, that is called as ZIFT, okay, zygote intrafallopian transfer. And in case if it is zygote is made to proliferate, 2 cell, 4 cell, then we have 8 cell, okay, 8 cell to 16 cell. So we then transfer it to the uterus, okay. Then we have embryo transfer, okay, intrauterine embryo transfer or intrauterine transfer. Understood? So these are some of the techniques that we use in the IVF. One of the other methods we have called as intracytoplasmic sperm injection. When the sperm is not produced healthily, for example, if a male produces 100% of the sperms, only 60% of the sperms are healthy and 40% are defective sperms. For some people, what happens, these numbers can be very, very high. Very low, and these numbers can be very, very high. They can cause severe deformities in the sperm, or the sperm is not motile at all. Usually in the old couples, then when they're deciding to have babies, so usually what happens, the nucleus of the sperm is taken and it is directly injected into the, like this, okay? So they're directly injected into the ova, thereby causing the fertilization. This is called as, see here, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Okay, the sperm is injected into the cytoplasm of the ova. So these are techniques. Okay, next one is surrogacy. Surrogacy is very beautiful. It shows how humanly it is. Whenever we have a mother who can produce a healthy egg, she do not have a proper uterus to give birth to a baby. Her uterus is very poorly developed, or it is not healthy enough for the carrying the baby. Then the surrogate mother, somebody like their very close relatives or very close friends, there, yeah, the zygote is transferred, or embryo is transferred into the uterus of a surrogate mother. The surrogate mother will actually raise the baby within her womb. After delivery, it is given to the original parents. I know it's a little bit painful for the mother who gave birth, but it is one of the most humane things that can happen. So the best way to go for having kids is adoption. We have so many kids that require a second chance. So it's beautiful if the kids are adopted, they're given a chance of they're given a second chance to see this beautiful life and have a feeling of and give them the feeling of having mother and father, right? So adoption is a go-go. So that is the best thing that you can do for the society, humanity, as well as for the young people or the children. So fine, people. So now it is quiz round. Let us go and see what is our first question. Okay, I want you all to actively participate. So here we have our first question, and I'm going to read the question. Wait, sorry. The first question is, the family planning program in India were initiated in. So let me launch. Already the answers are pouring. So let me launch the poll, people. Okay, is the poll on? The poll is on. Nice. The family planning program were initiated in. Okay, so let's make it 30 seconds. Let's answer within 30 seconds. Let's see. How many have you answered? I've got 2 people. So we are 8. And I want you 2 people also to answer quickly. Yes, perfect. So you 2 people, nice. You're given the answers. I like it. So can you check if you have the right answer? So all right, people. So let's see. So actually, the question, family planning program, people, family planning program was initiated in 1951. What happened in 1971? Tell me what happened in 1971? MTP was legalized, correct? No, 1971, what happened? MTP was legalized. Don't get confused. Remember this. The first slide we talked about is family planning, where the Hum Do, Hamare Do program was initiated and people were encouraged for this, right? Awesome. Can we see the second question? Let me end the poll. Okay, let me end the poll. Let's see what we have in the second question. The second question, Saheli, a new oral contraceptive pill, it was developed by All Indian Institute of Medical Sciences, AIMS, okay, where all of you people dream to go, Central Drug Research Institute, Healthcare Private Limited, Bharat Immunological and Biotechnological Corporation. So polls, okay, polls. Let's go for polls. I know that I saw the chat box. Give me a second. Relaunch the poll. Yes, the polls are live. Is it live? Yeah, it is. What do we have here? Oh, already answered. Nice, 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 people. This is very encouraging when you answer like this. Okay. Okay, so let's see. I'll also check the YouTube people, give me a second. All right. Okay. So Saheli was developed by who? Central Drug Research Institute. Where is the institute located, people? I want you to answer that. Where is that institute located? Can you give me an answer? Quick answer. Yeah, we have an answer. Lucknow. Perfect. Lucknow is the right answer. So do you know what happened in Bharat Immunological and Biological Corporation? What did they develop? Any idea? You have heard about this a lot in recent times. You know, that's a clue. Any idea what they developed recently? They made us famous all over the world. India was much appreciated. Let's see, we have an answer. Exactly, Covishield. Covishield was developed by Bharat Immunological and Biological Corporation. You guys are beautiful. Okay, let's go next. Next question we have is, which one amongst the following, okay, is the first countries in the world to initiate action plan and programs at national level to attain total reproductive health and social goal? So let me relaunch. So the polls are live. Is it live? No. Network is poor, I think. Okay, you can use the chat box, people. If not, if the polls are not visible, you can use the chat box. I think I'm audible. Yeah. Yes, we have an answer already. The polls are also live. Nice. Yeah. Nice. So we have answers. I want to see if all of them are answering the same option. Okay. Yes, correct. Okay, Vida, and from the YouTube, it's right. Okay. So let's see. What do we have? See, people, many times we think that developed countries do things faster. Wrong. India was one of the first countries to recognize the reproductive, importance of reproductive health and social programs. So we were the first ones to do it. So proud for that. So our option B is right. Next one. To form embryo in vitro, the male gamete is transferred into the female gamete directly. Such technique is called as. So you have IUI, IUT, ICSI, and then we have GIFT. Okay, GIFT. So I will launch. It's taking time, but you can go for chat box also. I don't mind. Yeah. To form embryo in vitro. Okay, in vitro. Yes. The male gamete is transferred into the female gamete directly. Such technique is called as. We have 2 on 2. Okay. Where are the rest? I want five people answering, but we have 2 on 2 all the time. Come on, people, give your suggestions. Okay, what is happening here? Chalo. Okay, let's check it out if you're right. All right, people. So some of your friends have told it is option C. So agree with me, option C? Agree with you? Yeah, I agree totally. It is ICCS, that is intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Okay, if an embryo has to be formed, what do? The male gamete is directly transferred. See here, the male gamete is transferred into the female gamete directly. The definition for ICSI is this one only. Male gamete is directly transferred into the female gamete. So that is called as ICSI. Okay. So rest of it, that is just gamete intrafallopian transfer. Okay, intrauterine transfer. Okay. What about IUI? What is IUI? What is IUI? What is IUI, people? You know the definition for IUI? Yes, no? Correct. What is IUI? It's okay. Do you have an answer? No. So intrauterine injections, okay, this is called as IUIs, so which is another technique. So we know that our option C is right. Okay, we have, I think it's the last question. Which one of the following statements is correct regarding sexually transmitted diseases? The chances of a 5-year-old boy contracting STD are very little. The person may contract syphilis by sharing the milk with one who is already suffering from the same disease. Hemophilia is one of the STDs. Genital herpes and sickle cell anemia are both STDs. What do you think? Can I relaunch the poll? You're already answering quickly. I like it. Very nice. Good interaction, people. Very nice. Oh, yeah. Yes. So now we have a split answer. Amazing. Now we have two options, two different options coming from different people. Now we can have a debate. Who is right, who is wrong? Okay, see which is the right option. Okay, so we have 30 seconds up. It's a very easy questions. Remember, people, easy chapters go for as quick as possible. They're almost direct questions, right? So the chances of a 5-year-old boy containing STD are very, very little. This is absolutely right, no, people. Why? Because he can contract STD through his parents. That is also a rare chance. And a 5-year-old kid involving in sexually, sexual activities is very, very little. And 5-year-old going for blood transfusion is very, very rare. So that is why this condition can cause very little chances of getting HIV. But let us see the B option. B option, person suffering from syphilis can contract syphilis by sharing the milk. Okay. Next one, hemophilia is one of the STDs. Yes. Genital herpes and sickle cell anemia are both STD. Okay. Sickle cell anemia is not an STD. It's a genetic disorder. So the option itself is wrong. Okay. Sickle cell anemia is not contracted by, STD. So this option has a problem. Okay. But genital herpes is an STD. All right, people. So option A is more reasonable. So that's why we go for option A. Okay. Next one. The test tube baby program employs, give me a second, it's blocking. Employs which one of the following techniques? Intracytoplasmic sperm injection, intrauterine insemination. Oh, sorry. IUI is intrauterine insemination. Okay. Next one is gamete intrafallopian transfer and zygote intrafallopian transfer. So what do you think, people? Which one is the option? The test tube baby program employs which one of the following? Yes, perfect. Okay, we have more answers coming in. What about YouTube? Sorry. Give me a second, people. Yeah. Yes. So your option is C. The option is right. Option C. So we have in test tube baby program, we employ gamete intrafallopian transfer. It is also called, gamete intrafallopian transfer. So that is what is called as test tube baby program. It is also called as IVF program, in vitro fertilization program. Okay. So which one of the following statements is correct? According to 2001 census, our population growth rate was 1.7%. And then marriable age for male and female is respectively 18 and 21 years. An ideal contraceptive should be reversible. The problem of infertility in India lies most often in female partner. Okay. What do you think is the wrong option here? Yeah, we have answers already. Okay. Very nice. Very quick, people. I like it. Nice. Yes. Agree. Totally agree with your answers. Okay. Hold on. I'll just check. What happened, Meena? Why are you retracting your messages? Okay. Yes, correct. Now you answered the right one. Okay. So the option is D. Okay. Why? Because because we cannot generalize the population. Okay, men, if you see the entire population, right? So men are suffering more actually, but we cannot tell who is having more ratio of infertility, right? It depends upon individual, and we cannot tell that male are responsible for infertility, female are responsible for infertility. But in most families, we have female being blamed for not being conceptive for the pregnancies, which is really wrong. Male are also equally responsible for that. Okay, B and D. Okay, an ideal contraceptive should be reversible. Okay, oh sorry, marriageable. Okay, hold on. Somebody told B and D. How is it B and D? Okay, a marriageable age for male and female. Yeah, it should actually, it's actually female and male. Okay, female and male is respectively. Very nice, very good eyes. Okay, if it is male and female, the guy pointed out a very good grammatical mistake here. Male is they're telling it is 18, female they're telling it is 21. So this is also wrong. Amazing job. Okay, I really appreciate this. Okay, so if it was female and male, then this option would also be right. Whereas the D option, we were talking about it, many of the females are blamed for infertility. That is wrong actually. So it depends upon the medical conditions of an individual. So yeah, yeah. Now I should thank you. Actually, you saved me. Okay, in one way. Okay, nice people. It was a very good session, very interactive one. I really enjoyed it. I think this is the last question that we have for the day. RCH stands for, come on, give me a quick answer. RCH stands for? RCH stands for? We have A, B, C, D. Last question, I feel. RCH stands for? It's very easy. Yes. Yeah, correct. RCH stands for, let me see our YouTube people, they're answering. Yes, they're answering. RCH stands for, you're right, people, you have chosen the right option, reproductive and child healthcare, right? Yes. Hold on, sorry. Yeah. So this is the right option, reproductive and child healthcare. So that is a program they launched. All right, people, thank you very much. It was a nice session. Meet you tomorrow for the paper solving. Your ma'am will be coming back, hopefully, for tomorrow's paper discussion. And it was nice knowing. Okay. Thank you for the session. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. I'm going to end the call now. Thank you. Bye-bye.